CEO Chat. My name is Al Cini.
I'm Joe Osamendi.
Joseph.
Good to see you, man.
We love to talk to nonprofits. We don't get to do it as much as we'd like for whatever reason. It's a shame. But Angelo Valletta is the president and CEO of a terrific organization. It's the, I want to make sure I get this right, Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia.
Yes, Al.
And we're going to break that down word by word as we
Sure.
have our conversation so that everybody knows where you're coming from.
Welcome to the
Great.
show.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much.
Angelo,
Thanks,
my
Al.
pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Now,
Pleasure's all mine.
correct me if I'm wrong. As I understand it, the Catholic Foundation is almost like a broker for donations. You work between donors and the communities that they want to benefit.
Absolutely.
So maybe you could tell us how you do that.
Sure. I like how you use the word broker on that, where we are a financial vehicle for our donors and that they put their trust in our organization to where their hard-earned money, their dollars that they want to connect with the different missions and passions that they have that are mission-oriented from a Catholic faith-based perspective. They entrust us. We invest those funds. We have individuals that are on our board that help us frame the strategy as it relates to investment. We use one of the largest financial houses in the world from an investment perspective and a housing standpoint to ensure that our funds are purely protected as it relates to an infrastructure from a financial perspective, not only from security, but just running on what I like to call their rails from a financial institution standpoint. And it allows us to concentrate on stewardship to ensure that our donors' monies are being stewarded to what their particular passions and missions are that are Catholic faith-based.
But you're independent from the Catholic Church, is that correct?
Yeah, thank you. And it's a great point, Joe, is that yes, we are wholly independent or our own nonprofit, 501c3 for those technical folks out there. But yes, we're independent, we're free. We do have a Catholic faith-based mission as it relates to the organizations that we connect with. But at the end of the day, we're responsible to our board of trustees as well as our donors to ensure that we're stewarding properly.
That's so important. So if I'm the CEO of, let's say, an educational technology company, and maybe we're a $50 or $100 million outfit, and we decide that we want to create a fund to benefit education specifically, some particular aspect of education, you're a good guy to call. Because you'll help me figure out how to structure that so that I know my money is actually going where I intended to go.
Al, you're a great salesman for me, so I
Is that right?
appreciate that. Thank you.
I want to make sure. I want these people to call you.
Yeah, so the answer is yes. And just I want to make sure I make it clear again that it is a Catholic faith-based organization, so those missions that we serve are Catholic-oriented. But as we all know, the missions that are out there, either be educational, senior and elder care, special needs. We support all individuals from a religious, ethnic, and so forth.
It doesn't matter. People in need are people in need. It doesn't matter who they pray to.
It doesn't matter. I was told by our Archbishop of Philadelphia is that, Angelo, the foundation has a special environment about itself, is that you're allowing missions to support all individuals. And we do this not just for Catholics. We do this because we're Catholic. It's just part of our faith that we support individuals in need, right? I have a laundry list of wonderful missions that are independent from the archdiocese. There's no specific archdiocese, but they have a Catholic-oriented mission to it. Our universities, there's 12 Catholic universities housed in and we're in Cherry Hill, so within a 30-mile radius of where we're sitting, there are 12 Catholic universities, wonderful universities. The big ones everyone knows, right? The Villanovas, the St. Joe's, and the LaSalle's. But there's many, many others. The Gwynedd Mercy's, the Chestnut Hills, Newman, the wonderful Newman University there in Ashton, Pennsylvania. Wonderful institutions that we help support from an educational perspective. But you know what? How more importantly, not only higher education, but our our elementary schools and our high schools. Very important. We work with a group, the Independent Mission Schools, that a group of lay individuals got together when the Archdiocese was going to close 15 schools that are really in the most impoverished areas in the greater Philadelphia area. These wonderful individuals got together and saved these schools because not only that it was important from a faith-based mission perspective, a Catholic standpoint, but these schools were a fabric of the community.
Right.
The individuals, and in these schools, 75% of the students are non-Catholic. I'll tell you a story real quick, if I may.
Please do.
Is that my executive director, Sarah Hanley, and I were going through one of the schools because actually we help the independent mission schools with some of their advancement. We work with their advancement and development group for awareness and being able to support them from a back office perspective. So we have another part of our organization that not only supports individuals from and organizations from a foundation investment vehicle perspective, but we have a consulting group that actually supports missions to help with their advancement needs and their marketing needs and so forth. And we become a back office for them. And that positive cash flow allows us to put into our granting process more dollars so we can grant dollars out to worthy missions that are in need. So I'll get back to the independent mission schools with these wealthy individuals that save these schools. So I'm in one of the schools, and there's this young little man, probably no more than 7 or 8 years old, and just a normal boy, shirt tails all taken out, jacket's a little bit too big. He's got some books in his hand, and he saw Sarah and I, and and you have to understand, these older Catholic schools have those big, huge steel doors that us three have a little problem opening because they're so heavy. But he was so concerned about holding the door for Sarah and I, that I said to myself, I go, this is what the community wants and needs for their young people, to have an environment that allows them to be safe, secure, and being educated properly. It was just a beautiful thing.
And who learns, what you want is for kids to develop into being good citizens, good friends, good neighbors.
Good citizens. That's exactly right.
I mean, there's a whole bunch. You're trying to make the world a better place to live in.
Absolutely.
And what excites me about this mission, Angelo, is that if I'm the owner of a large company and I decide I want to get involved in my community and want to help out, I can call you and you'll arrange for my funds to do that work. Or I can also, what if I want to be more directly involved in how that work gets done?
Sure. And we can do that in several different ways. We have different program funds set up. We can have it specific to a particular passion and need. We call that a program fund. If we want to keep it a little bit more flexible, whereas maybe the institution will change on a yearly basis. Maybe one year it's senior and elder care, another year it's special needs and education, another time it's elementary education or high school education. Whatever that flexibility is, we'll create what we call a donor advised fund for that institution. Keep it flexible. Create what we would call a pseudo foundation to where we can have a committee set up. So on a yearly basis, maybe it's some of their customers that they want to pull together and create a consortium of sorts to help a particular mission. Now, and I'll say it again, is that all of our missions are Catholic faith-based. But again, we support all faiths, all individuals, right?
So I think that's so important. You ask the question, what do you need and how can we help? You don't ask, when was the last time you went to church?
Not
when was
at
the last
all.
time you went to confession?
Not at all.
None of those things. There's no sacramental requirement anywhere in any of this.
Not at all.
All you need to have a legitimate need, and we need to have a donor hooked up who can provide funds to service that.
That's exactly right. And we'll steward that. You know what? If you want us to do the legwork in regards to bringing 4 or 5 missions together, we can do that twice a year, once a year, 3 times a year, whatever the institution wants. And we can put in front of them different organizations. They can, say, interview those different organizations. They can require those organizations to support back information on outcomes, how many individuals that they served
They want to know.
in need and so forth.
They
You know,
wanna know how that
that
worked for
people
them,
want to
and
know
so-
how their money is being served from an outcome
That's
perspective.
so important.
How long is the geographic, excuse me,
I'm sorry, no, go ahead.
how big is your geographical reach?
Well, we say that we're the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia, but that, boy, that encompasses a whole lot of area, right? So
Catholic means universal.
it does.
Yeah.
So while our name kind of says Greater Philadelphia, it is. That's Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, and beyond. We actually were the back office for our World Meeting of Families. When the Pope came to our great city of Philadelphia, we helped the international transfer of funds in and supporting those. I mean, we needed to raise $45 million for the Pope to come.
Wow.
And that money came through us. Now, it didn't stay in the foundation. Money came in, money went out because there was such a quick need of those funds, and it just, money moved very, very quickly. But they entrusted us because we had the international capabilities to
You have
do
the
that as
ability
well.
to move that money around, you can do that.
Absolutely.
Plus, they know that their money is safe and it's being used for what it's intended for, and that's so
We're
critical.
stewards, and we're audited from that
that's great.
perspective as well.
Good. Okay, we need to take a break. When we come back, there's so many questions I have to ask you.
That's great, huh?
And you're the guy with the answers. So,
Thank you, Al.
So we'll be back with more Angelo Valletta of the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia on CEO Chat after these messages.
Stick around.
Shelter dogs aren't broken. They've simply experienced more life. If they were human, we would call them wise. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write. The ones dealt a bad hand who responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. Adopt one.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
I work 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I gotta get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat. Like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me. Thanks, Liz. A woman without a lot of time.
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rostelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
RVN TV is a platform for people of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVN TV shows monthly. We guarantee a great experience that you'll be sharing with everyone you know while increasing your personal and company's brand awareness. But what is your brand? According to Forbes, it's a combination of your logo, your product, your design and feel, and your personality. Did you know that aside from being a guest, we offer even more opportunity to boost your brand? Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And most importantly, there's you and your interview. For less than the cost of a newspaper, direct mail, or a magazine ad, you can leave our studio and within 48 hours have a permanent digital copy of your live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
Welcome back to CEO Chat. We're just checking on each other. We're all still
You're still
breathing.
Alcini.
I'm Alcini, and you're Joe Assamendi.
Yes, I am.
What a pleasure. But our guest is Angelo Valletta, and he's got so many things to offer.
Right.
It's the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia.
Yes.
And during the break and before the program, we were talking about, I know we couch donors in terms of large companies that have maybe a lot of funds, but a lot of your donors are not large companies. They're ordinary people, aren't they?
Absolutely, Al. And that's a great question. I appreciate you asking that in that way. We'll support individuals from 5,000 to 50 million, and anything in between, quite honestly. Is that some donor advised funds and some individuals start the fund with $5,000, and then they're able to start, once they get that fund to $10,000, they can start distributing wherever they like, right?
Okay.
From a Catholic faith-based mission perspective. Many of our donors start with right around that amount, 5 to 10,000, and then they can immediately, once they get to that $10,000 mark, start to deliver funds to the missions of their passions. And for those larger amounts, we work with families, individuals that come in with 7 digits and 8 digits, so $1 million, $10 million. They come in, and we work with them specifically because obviously higher the dollar, the more movement within the account from a dollar perspective is, from
You
investments.
were talking about a
and so
man who
forth,
made a
right?
donation on behalf of his late wife.
Absolutely.
Maybe you can tell that story. It's a great
Sure, thank you. Wonderful individual that his wife passed away, unfortunately, and he did a planned gift of $6 million in the name of his wife for a college, university in their music program. So her name and her legacy will live on forever. But the beauty of working with us versus sending it right to the university. So if that university merges or ceases to exist anymore or whichever, we have contingencies within his endowment, within his particular fund that he'll have a secondary and a third.
Move it to another
Move
institution.
it to something else in honor of his wife.
Well, and you also have programs that take a dollar that comes in as a donation and amplify it.
You know what? That's another great question. And that's what really differentiates our foundation versus many others, right? There are thousands of organizations that you can create donor advised funds and program funds with and so forth, right? But with us is that our goal is to help you grow that fund, not only from yourself, from an individual perspective, but the mission that you may be passionate about. Let's take another example of that independent mission school when I was talking about when I was visiting that school with the little lad doing his best to hold this 25-pound door for Sarah and I. The key is that we are working in concert with them and their board to grow their particular fund. And we're working out the final details of that at this point to lift that. So if their board and their organization and their friends of the independent mission schools have the capability of a $4 to $5 million program, one of the things that we do, we want to double that for them. We want to help keep them going in perpetuity because we know the need from that standpoint.
The need never goes away.
So we're going to marry individuals that may have a passion for education in impoverished areas that need it most, and maybe they don't have a vehicle to get their money there. We can do that for them.
Plus, you have contracts with these people so they can feel comfortable and protected.
100%. It is a contract between that individual and us to ensure that their money is stewarded. There's many tax advantages. There's a lot written, especially within some of the new tax code and so forth. And the other thing,
that's great. That gets us into the conversation about the consulting services you offer.
Absolutely. So just before I get to the consulting services, so there's tax advantages to create these funds and donor advised funds. And we welcome the work with their tax individuals that they have built years of trust with, or their wealth manager to ensure that what's being built is right for that family, individual, institution. So we do that. So again, Al, as how we differentiate ourselves as it relates to growing these funds, yes, we have that consulting arm and that consulting organization that helps lift those organizations from an advancement and development, from a back office perspective. Grant writing, we talked a little bit about that before.
Nobody knows how to do that. It's a
big deal.
That's a challenge.
So we do that as an office perspective, and the individuals have been doing this for many, many years within it. So, and we're able to tap our experience of the many different organizations that we have done business with to kind of create a methodology and a best practice approach.
That's right.
How did you get your organization started?
Well, we started, it was about 5.5 years ago. Our 6-year anniversary is July 1st.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
I was surprised to learn it was
yeah.
such a young organization.
Yes, yes. And honestly, we were started by 12 wealthy Catholics in the greater Philadelphia area that wanted to make sure that their hard-earned dollars that they want to invest in Catholic faith-based missions was going to be stewarded for their passions and missions. We talked about that a little bit before. So they created a board of trustees with the support of the Archdiocese, free and independent.
Right.
It's not even an arm's length. It's further than that, right?
Okay.
There's no connection as it relates that besides we're Catholic
That's
faith-based.
important. You're not part of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia.
Of any archdiocese.
Although the church hierarchy is represented on your board,
Absolutely.
it's a business board. It's not a religious board.
That's exactly correct.
Yeah, right.
So it's a great partnership. These individuals, and honestly, these 12 individuals invested into our unrestricted funds, that which allows us to grant out different grants and so forth. $500,000 each. Do the math. That's $6 million, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's good.
and they supported that, and fortunately for us, between the consulting organization that we have and some of the positive cash flow that we have there, we're a nonprofit, so we're not here to make a profit, but we are here to help missions and so forth. So any positive cash flow goes right into our unrestricted funds that allows us to grant more and more. And our most recent grant was $75,000 to 10 different schools that sent requests in, grants in. We have 2 granting cycles. Our next one is July.
Okay.
And the granting cycle was about safety and security of our schools. So our parents today, guys, unfortunately, is that in the check boxes that they have, education programs, social programs, is in a right environment for my child. Unfortunately, today they have to put safety and security on there, right? It's unfortunate, right? But, and we recognize that, so we made a call out to schools. We had some criteria that we put out there because we knew there was going to be a need. We had about 17 schools sent us grants. 10 were really, really good. Some were missing some things, so we'll ask them to go back and try again. But the big key is that find out what you need from a baseline security perspective. We want you to work with your local authorities because what's needed here in Cherry Hill is different than what's needed in Pennsauken, Merchantville, Camden, Gloucester County. They're all different. But the local authorities, the local police forces know what they need in their community.
Yeah, sure.
And boy, oh boy, they love to go out when a school reaches out to them and says, what do we need from a baseline security to make our community safer, right? Boy, they come running. That's something that they offer to the community. So they go in and say, well, you know what, I think you should have a little bit more security on these doors, maybe some cameras and this. So they'll talk an unbiased approach to help them. And that was the call that we had.
That was the call that you got, and that's what you helped pull
Yeah,
together.
75,000 to 10 different schools in various amounts, but we had about 75,000, and we were able to drive that out to those 10 schools, elementary and high schools.
Oh, great. Now, okay, so Angelo, when you were 5 years old,
Okay.
let's go back to 5. Angelo was
It's a long time ago, Al.
I know.
It was a long time ago.
Think back. Somebody said, Angelo, when you grow up, what do you want to be? Was this it? I mean, how did you get into this?
Wow, that's a great question, and I'm probably a little unprepared for it, but I'll try my best.
Sure.
Honestly, gentlemen, I spent 35 years running technology and operations groups for financial services companies. Some of the largest financial institutions that are based in Pennsylvania and globally I worked for. And that's what I went to college for. That's what I honed my skills, so to speak. Once my children, I have 2 children, 28 and 25, and once they became older and needed a little less of dad, I started to really connect with nonprofits. I'm on several boards. I have my own endowed scholarship, our family does, for my late brother Lou at Temple University. So I started to connect with fundraising from that perspective because he passed away at a very young age. He was 46 years old. So to honor him and his legacy and his name, we have, it's a partial scholarship, not a full one yet, but we're going to get there eventually. I'm also on the board of the Red Cross of Philadelphia. So I got connected in nonprofits and feel a really affinity to it. My last 5 years of my career, I was with a global financial technology services company, providing technology for financial institutions. As a consulting arm and a consulting organization, my group was east of the Mississippi, Maine to Miami, Canada, and Latin America. So I had a nice territory from that perspective. We built that business tenfold over the course of the almost 5 years that I was there. And building businesses was a lot of fun from that standpoint. And I think my background from an educational perspective, how I became connected to nonprofits, my passion of being a Catholic, just by living the Catholic way,
the faith and what it means
and
for
the
your neighbors.
faith from with our Lord Jesus Christ. So very important. All those things are important to me. And the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia allows me to take all of the skills that I believe that I was able to ascertain over the last 50 some odd years to be able to culminate, to grow an organization, not for the profits of the bottom line, but for the profits of missions to help individuals that are in need. So we have a financial aspect to our organization, we have a stewardship aspect to the organization, and we have a consulting aspect to the organization. It takes all of my passions put together, and by the grace of God, here I am. I'm blessed to be able to be running a wonderful organization with an incredible board of trustees, being led by some wonderful men and women that are on our board, and they entrust us as a team.
And you're making a difference every day.
That's right.
And, it's as you were talking about it, I was thinking, the greatest story ever told is really still being told.
That's right.
And, and you're part of that story, and I think that's it's really about benefiting people in need.
That's right.
Regardless of their religious affiliation or certainly. Okay, so we're at that part of our program, we get to tell everybody how to reach you. One opportunity here is that instead of having your regular, normal, quarterly, boring board meeting, you can invite Angelo to come in and talk to your board about the business benefits of giving.
Great.
Yes.
So go ahead and look in the camera, tell everybody how to reach you.
Thank you very much. Please feel free to give us a call at 215-587-5650. You can feel free to just call me directly, ask for me. They'll find me in the office or wherever I'm at. If I'm here talking with Al and Joe, or if I'm sitting in the office doing some board level type of things. Or feel free to visit thecfgp.org. That's CFGP, like Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia, thecfgp.org. Take a look, cruise around our website. Feel free to reach out to us that way as well. So thank you very much, gentlemen.
What a pleasure having you on the program. Angelo Valletta, president of the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. You got money, you want to make sure it's spent where you want it spent, call this guy. You got a problem, you need help getting it solved, call this guy. So great to have you around.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
much,
you, Joe.
Great
Thanks,
having you on
Al.
the program.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
And thanks all of you for joining us today on CEO Chat. My name is Alcini.
I'm Joe Asamendi.
And we'll be back next Friday with more CEO Chat. Until then, have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Be safe, sound, and join us next week.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.